Welcome to U.S. History. This video will introduce you to what is necessary technology for my class. We'll go through Google Classroom a little bit, mention the syllabus, the textbook, notes, and a program that we use quite a bit in here called EdgeElastic. Google Classroom will be where you find pretty much everything for my course. This is kind of what the banner will look like. It has part of the Capitol building. It'll have U.S. history and then whatever year it is. I have the class code grayed out on this one because that'll change year by year. But I will be either giving you the class code or I will manually add you to class and you just need to hit join. It is highly recommended that if you have a smartphone, that you download the Google Classroom app to your phone. This way you can get notifications. If you forgot to do something, you weren't by your Chromebook or you didn't have Wi-Fi, but you had data on your phone, you can still get into Google Classroom and do what you need to do. Now, once you get inside the Google Classroom, you're going to see at the top, Stream, Classwork, People. You will spend most all of your time in Classwork. The stream will only show you any kind of announcement that I may have. Classwork is where you will find assignments, videos, articles, anything you need, anything that's classwork. Once you are in the Classwork tab, on the left-hand side, you will see topics. You can select a certain topic. Mine are labeled by chapter numbers. So if you wanted to see just the assignments in chapter 33, on the left, you click chapter 33, it'll show you just the assignments on chapter 33. So it narrows it down so you don't have so much information overwhelming you at once. This is where you'll also see a topic for like textbook and things like that. One thing that I want to go ahead and mention here that I've seen be a problem is when people don't turn their assignment in or mark it as done. You need to make sure whether it's an assignment you're physically turning in there, whether it's something you just had to read, you need to mark it as done or turn it in. Otherwise, it shows as not being done. The final thing that I need to mention about Google Classroom is if you need more information on how to use this, obviously you could ask me, or here's an actual website of a great student guide to Google Classroom. I think it's about 8 minutes long. So if you need more help figuring out where to go and what exactly to click on in Classroom, this would be a video that would show you that. One important piece of information that you'll find in the Google Classroom is the syllabus. The syllabus tells you everything you need to know about the course, what materials you need, how late work works, any kind of makeup work, anything with tests, any passes about leaving the room. You'll also see an outline on the second page about the course and what all we're covering over the course of the year. So this will always be in the Google Classroom. It has its own topic called Syllabus, so you can find it there. Each chapter or unit that we do in this class, you're going to receive a calendar and a checklist to keep you on track and know what to do each day. Here's an example of what a calendar might look like. You will see each day what you need to be doing. You will also see linked in blue the lectures that you need to listen to or watch for that day. They'll be located on YouTube. They're lectures that I have made and put on there for you. You'll also see what assignments need to be worked on each of those days. And you'll also see when the test is, you'll see when the final due date that I'll accept material is. It's all laid out on the calendar. In each chapter, you'll also be receiving a checklist along with a calendar. This checklist will show you all the work that you need to be doing in that chapter, not the videos and such, but just the work you need to be turning in. It shows you what date you should have it turned in. It also shows you the final date that I will accept any work from that chapter, the date and time. These are personalized to each of you, so that way you can mark on it and check off things that you've gotten done to keep yourself on track as you go through the chapter. The textbook for this class is one of the largest textbooks in the school. I don't hand it out anymore. Back when I used to hand it out to students all the time, they hated carrying the thing around. So I have since digitalized the textbook. So you have a copy of the textbook in your Google Classroom. So you have that with your Chromebook. You can have it on your phone when you put the Classroom app on there. Once you're inside Classroom, you'll find a topic called Textbook. Inside this topic, you will see all of the chapters that we use for this class. So anytime you need to find any information from a textbook, you can click on that PDF and it'll pull up those pages from the textbook. Something that you will see quite a bit of in this class is something called Edge Elastic. Edge Elastics have taken the place of most of the paperwork in this class. You may have to log into Edge Elastic the very first time you use it, so make sure that the first time you use it, you'll see a thing that says sign in with Google. Make sure you click that and select your school account, not a personal account. Then anytime that you use Edge Elastic from there on out, it'll automatically log you into it. You will see a number of assignments that'll post that will say they're in Edge Elastic. When you click on them, the link in Classroom, it'll take you directly to that specific assignment. Be sure you spell things correctly in it. Once I grade it, review what you've missed. Because if you put something down that you think is right and you could defend it, email me. Tell me which Edge Elastic it was, which assignment, like chapter 27-3, question number 4. Then email me and say, I typed, the United States and the answer was the US. I'll go in there and I'll make sure I give you the points if that's not what it, already gave it to you for. So these actually work great, these Edge Elastics. Kind of like some of you are used to using a Google form, but a Google form doesn't save your work as you go along. With an Edge Elastic, you can do a question or two, exit out of it. When you come back later, those questions are already done. So as long as you move on to the next question, it saves the previous questions you've worked on. So you can do a couple questions in school. You could go to Guided Study, do a few questions. You can go home and do the rest of the questions. It saves all of those as you go along. So that's a huge advantage to this. The last thing we need to mention in this video is about notes and how to take notes in this class. You have to have a notebook for this class. I highly suggest you have a 3 or a 5 subject notebook. You can have a single subject notebook, but I promise you'll probably be using more than one notebook as the year goes on. So a lot of people prefer the 3 or the 5. Now, once you start taking notes for this class, I ask that you have a notebook for this class only. Don't have biology and math and everything all mixed into it. I collect these notebooks once in a while. You won't have your notebook for that class then for a while. So when you take notes, you need to make sure that you have a chapter and section heading. You need to have the date. The date goes in the left-hand margin, and then the chapter section heading goes next to it. So in the example you can see right there, you have 8-20, and then you have chapter 13, section 1, and then underline it. And some people highlight it. I need to be able to see those. If I don't see those, you'll lose points because I won't know where one day's notes started and another day's stopped. Now, the style of how you take notes is kind of your choice. Some people write their notes in a complete thought. Others write their notes kind of as an outline. You need to find whatever works for you. Do not write just what's on the slide though. You need to also take notes with what I say. I may just have a picture up there of Abraham Lincoln, and I might tell you 4 or 5 things about Lincoln. If all you write on your notebook is Abraham Lincoln, what's that really telling you? Great, there's a guy named Abraham Lincoln. You need to write more than what's on the slide. But you also don't write down every word I say. You'll get completely overwhelmed. You'll never be able to keep up. It'll take you forever. If you're watching it on video, you'll be pausing every 10 seconds to write stuff down. You need to figure out what's important and write that down. In my notes, I use a lot of arrows to save myself time writing and everything. Your notebook does get graded for this class. It's worth pretty much a test grade, so you can't afford to take a 0 on it. Make sure you do every day's notes. Make sure they're well labeled with the date in the margin, with the heading next to it, underlined, highlight it, make sure I can see it. Keep the things in order in a notebook. If you choose to use a binder, technically that's okay. You'll have the pages still bound in a binder.